So we try again another day. I tried uninstalling my Facebook and I don't know how my phone is set up, but I can't uninstall. The best I can do is disable my Facebook temporarily and also kind of log out of my accounts. So we try again. As you guys may know, my Facebook lives have been reconnecting as of recently, and I won't be surprised if it starts again very, very soon. What do I want to talk about? I really wish I could stop speaking about politics, because politics is very triggering in this country, especially as of late. I found myself thinking today that if people hated Jacob Zuma as much as I hate Cyril Ramaphosa right now, I can't blame them. The guy is extremely upsetting. And I know Jacob used to laugh, crack jokes in parliament when asked important questions. Cyril doesn't give us anything. Not a laugh, not a joke. The guy doesn't care, and it's gaslighting when he jumps on the Twitter or somewhere else to talk about something else. Like that video that came out where he was cracking jokes at an Ankole auction, saying that he'd rather be president of the Ankole Association and president of the country. That's gaslighting. It's very triggering, very upsetting for a normal person. A couple of my videos have trended in the last 2 weeks, speaking about government employees and how a lot of them are lazy and rude and incompetent. One trended speaking about Eskom and how Cyril Ramaphosa was in charge at Eskom at some point, and how his brother-in-law Jeff Radebe gave out licenses, of which 12 of the 25 ended up with their brother-in-law Patrice Motsepe. This morning I wake up to the news that Sri Lanka as a country is officially bankrupt, and all civil servants, all public servants, all government employees have been asked to stay home. The country's run out of fuel. They're going to get their next shipment of fuel on the 22nd of July, but currently they have no fuel at all. Inflation sits at over 60%. Essentially, the country has failed. South Africa is a failure currently, and the reason you guys won't see it is because we keep having the ability to raise a lot of foreign debt. If we were not able to raise this debt, we'd also be like Sri Lanka. Cyril is not speaking about it. The deputy president, Diti Mabuza, does not even exist. You've got people like Onkosazana Dlamini Zuma or Naledi Pando who are up there at the top. Useless. Politics is so triggering. I actually wanted to speak, especially this week, I wanted to speak about parenting. I wanted to speak about romantic relationships. I wanted to speak about more social issues, I wanted to speak about penalism and my plans for penalism, but it's so difficult to ignore politics because it's literally throttling our lives every single day. And every time electricity goes out because of load shedding, every time you hit a pothole, every time you get to a government department and someone at Home Affairs is giving you attitude, every time you get to a place and there aren't enough workers, you can't help but just think about the ANC. You can't help and think about corrupt black leaders, of tenderpreneurs who splurge money on garbage. And then I like bringing matters back home. So I find myself thinking of every family member and friend I know that works for a school, for a hospital, for a clinic, somewhere, who's part of the corruption, who's stealing resources there, who's inflating prices. The ANC is a vehicle. So that's difficult for some people to understand. The ANC is a political party that was set up and registered by some guys, no different than me and you years ago. And a lot of us now obviously want the ANC to lose power. It's lost power in some of the major metros, so there's hope. We want it to lose power nationally come 2024. But I know the ANC is a vehicle. A lot of your favorite leaders within the ANC didn't start in the ANC. They were probably part of some union or some other political party somewhere. And then later on, they joined the ANC. And then some have since left. And people like Terra Likota, Mbazi Mashilowa, Julius Malema, Loma Moga Khoza, I think, Musi Maimani, of course. A lot of people left the ANC. They were ANC members in some way. So if you're now going to vote for a different political party just because it's not called ANC, and you haven't interrogated what work they've done, how they think, how they act, you'll find yourself in the exact same place where it'll just be a new bunch of thieves that have come in. I'm saying this, well, number one, because the ANC has to lose power. We're tired. We're tired of the African National Congress. Came in as a great liberation movement, and it's failed to be a great manager and administrator for this country. Failed dismally. It's turned black people into huge beggars. If the apartheid government turned black people into exploited slaves that were building this nation, the ANC government has turned them into beggars, not even slaves, which means they're not even adding any value to this country. This is not to say apartheid was better. It's to explain that the ANC seems to have not been a better solution for black people. The black masses are my biggest concern, and they should be your biggest concern, because come 2024, weeks, months before we have to vote, there's going to be a lot of campaigning. There's going to be a lot of celebrities, influencers, same influencers that were telling you guys to get jabbed for COVID, going around talking about Ukongolose and the ANC of Oliver Tambo, the ANC of Walter Sisulu. And there's going to be all this nostalgic stuff that's pumped, social media, on TV, on the radio. People are going to go to stadiums, to halls. They're going to get fed. They're going to be told stories of so many people that have RTPs and homes now thanks to the ANC, of all the kids that have managed to get free education and NSFAS schooling, who are now today doctors and engineers and lawyers. They're going to speak about black people who now live in the suburbs and how it's thanks to the fight by the ANC to topple the apartheid government that black people today can enjoy privileges, can travel around the world and become first world citizens, thanks to the ANC. And the masses, after eating their streetwise too, or whatever else they will be fed at that time, come election day, they're going to vote ANC again, because they're going to think, if I don't vote ANC, I won't get a grant. If I don't vote ANC, I won't get free schooling for my kids. If I don't vote ANC, I won't have NSFAS or funding. And a lot of the tenderpreneurs are going to go around hosting braais, buying their friends booze, to be like, guys, we have to vote ANC. We can't vote for Ongamla. If white people get this country back, they will destroy the country. ANC has destroyed this country. And they're not working alone, of course. I mean, it's always interesting for me listening to rich white people bash the ANC, when I know full well that it's rich whites who fund the ANC and have been funding the ANC since before 1994. Cyril Ramaphosa has got rich white funders behind him. Thabo Mbeki had rich white funders. Jacob Zuma had rich white funders, although he tried to change the color and he wanted the Guptas and other black people to, at some point, to be his funders. But Jacob Zuma would have never been able to be president in an African National Congress that wasn't funded by rich white people. Your same ANC government gives the biggest tenders in this country: construction, healthcare, medical services, cleaning schools, building schools, etc. They give them to white people. Companies like Murray and Roberts, Bidvest, Aspen. Obviously, you guys learned about Bosasa. So who are we kidding? Back in the day, as we know history, black people were, I don't know how it works in your head, but we assume that black people were kidnapped by these slave traders. Kidnapped, put on a ship, taken overseas to America and other parts of the world, by the way, and then sold as slaves. A lot of people never ask, where were the kings? Where were the queens? Where were the leaders of the time? The reality is, and it's for some people very hard to swallow this truth, the reality is a lot of king and queens sold their people to the slave traders. They weren't kidnapped. They were taken in exchange for gold, guns, something else from the colonial world or even from the East and Asia. The ANC, when it was set up, and I've said this many times before, it was a bunch of clever blacks, educated blacks. Pixley, John Langalbalele Dube. Those were educated black people. Even a Chief Albert Lutuli, as much as he was religious and a chief, educated, intelligent blacks. They just wanted a seat at the table with the white people to eat. They weren't really looking to revolutionize and transform how South Africa operates. The apartheid government of Afrikaners came in as second-class citizens so that they could actually run this ship, not to dismantle the power that the United Kingdom has over us. When the BEE Commission was set up and Cyril Ramaphosa was the chair, they were happy. They had convinced white people to bring them to the table. And again, it wasn't necessary to uplift and empower blacks, but for them to eat along with white people. That's why you had so many black people being fronts. That's why Cyril Ramaphosa himself has never built a business. I don't know if he knows how to build a business at all. All he's done is he's been given shares by rich white people who built their wealth during apartheid so that he can sit on these boards as a director, as a chairman, and make sure that government gives them tenders, number one. Make sure that, number two, all the red tape and policy that might hinder them from making money, they resolve. And number three, to keep black people at bay. Patrice Motsepe is a dollar billionaire today because he's shown white people how to build trusts for their black employees and other black community members. And with financial engineering, those trusts don't have to generate much value. We just have to say we have a BEE scheme that is worth 10 billion rand and everyone claps hands. When you try and look at the dividends, they peanuts. Because the real money in the income statement is made from services. You can own 100% of a company, 100%. But if you do not fundamentally run that company, the person who runs that company will choose who are going to be the service providers to that company. And they'll make sure that they fleece the income statement of everything it has. So that by the end of it, you've almost got no net profit to declare, no dividends that you can pay out to yourself. It's financial engineering. And if you study history, the history of business, you'll know these things. Most people don't. The ANC wasn't sent to save us. And as much as I love Jacob Zuma as a person, Jacob Zuma wasn't really trying to save us. Because if he was, he would have told us. Maybe he was scared of being killed. Maybe. Maybe he wasn't trying to save us. Maybe all he wanted is he wanted to put in some of his boys at the table. The black people that negotiated at Codesa, oh, they got great seats. Jacob Zuma and his band of Makaba, these uncivilized Zulus and other Indians and other people around the country, they never got to the table. And Zuma and the boys were like, nah, we can eat here. And he was like, no, boys, I'm going to be president. I'm going to let you guys in. But Zuma got attacked because the incumbents, of course, own the media. They own the biggest businesses. They, in effect, own the ANC. That's why when Zuma was doing his shenanigans, Thabo Mbeki came out of the woodworks. Kgalema Motlanthe came out of the woodworks. Trevor Manuel came out. These were all the beneficiaries of being gatekeepers. And they were like, how can Zuma bring his fucking homeboys to come and eat with us? Who are they? And it became a fight at the top where we at the bottom obviously got trampled on. But the ANC has failed, and I just wanted to highlight that the ANC is a vehicle. They can rebrand at the next elections and say we're no longer the ANC, we're now going to be a black and yellow party, and we're going to call ourselves the Penwell Party. And they'll put the exact same people. And they'll keep, sadly, creating the same new generation of the same type of mindset. I meet so many young people, my age, younger than me. They just want to be part of the ANC and they join branches because all they want is tenders and to eat. They don't realize that in their eating, they are destroying the nation. The nice cars they drive, the expensive booze they drink, the trips to Dubai they're enjoying now, those things are going to dry up because of them. I made an example today about nurses saying, nurses will steal medicine from a hospital or a clinic that they work at. And that department will lose so much money from the theft. And at some point, the budget will dry out. And once the budget dries out, the clinic, the hospital will have no choice. The healthcare department will have no choice but to be like, unfortunately, guys, we don't have money. We're going to have to retrench some of you. And those nurses are going to lose their shit. Why? How? How? You destroyed it. You chowed all the money. That's why there's no money left. ANC leaders, other politicians, black, white, Indian in parliament, that are thieving and corrupt, are destroying the gravy train that South Africa was meant to be. And they're not doing anything to replace it. You know, when you milk a cow, you're supposed to take just enough milk to drink. A little bit of milk for amasi, a little bit of milk for cheese. And then you're meant to leave some milk so that that cow can feed their calf or calves over time, so that you can regenerate. And in the future, you can have more and more cows that can feed you moving forward. When you milk the cow till there's no milk left, until it starts bleeding, the calf can't eat and the calf dies. And that cow itself probably gets infections on its udders and it dies. And then you're left with no cow at all. And then you ask, what the fuck happened? You milked the cow till it bled out of greed. Out of greed. And we're at a very sensitive situation now where it's not just the ANC government. It's not just other politicians. It's not traffic cops, abafuni called drink. It's not people that work at government departments. It's not just school teachers that steal stationery. It's not just nurses and doctors. It's everyone. All of us are committing fraud. All of us are paying bribes. All of us are corrupt in some way or another, and we're destroying this country. You're celebrating that to Prechile. You're illegally connected to electricity. Yes, electricity is fucking expensive. We're drowning. We're not earning enough. But you're part of the reason Eskom is fucked. And you're shocked. I hate load shedding. How can you hate load shedding when you are illegally connected? How can you hate on the SAPC when you're not paying your TV license? Yeah, no, DSTV is better than SA. It's because you pay your DSTV premiums. If you are paying the same 300 Rand or 900 or 1,000 Rand, however the fuck premium costs today, if you're paying 1,000 Rand to the SAPC every month, yes, government is corrupt. They probably fucking chow that money. But the bottom line is they have a bigger budget to give you the same programs that DSTV is giving you. Last I checked, I think TV license is 300 Rand a year or something. And you're paying 400 Rand a month for DSTV Compact. And you wonder why DSTV is better than SAPC. Come on, man. It seems people have lost their conscience. It seems the love and greed for money. And it seems even black people that have been uplifted and are living like whites, sipping lattes at Tasha's and having poppy seed muffins. You've become detached from where you come from, and you really don't have any idea of how these things work. I wish we had a better brand of billionaires that actually genuinely care about this country, that understand that as much as I'm eating, I need to give back and create a conducive environment so that other people can eat, so that there isn't crime, so that there isn't corruption, so that my kids can walk in the street and feel safe. Instead of taking all this money and shifting it offshore overseas, moving overseas and leaving this country to burn when you've milked it fucking dry as a rich white billionaire, blaming the ANC when you are part of the problem. You've milked the resources, the minerals out. You've milked our farms dry. You've exploited our labor till it's become useless. Then you've taken all those billions of dollars and you've taken them to Europe and America and Asia. And you take the moral high ground as being non-corrupt. You're part of the problem. You're part of the reason this country is fucked. And you expect someone else to fix it. Who? Who must fix it? You are the ones that's funding the ANC and all these other guys. You're the one that gave Cyril, Patrice, and all these other fat black BEE cats. You gave them board seats to destroy. You're part to blame. And the rest of the middle-class blacks and whites are at others' throats because they're stupid. They blame each other. The white middle class blames blacks for affirmative action. Fuck. And tenders. The black middle class blames the white middle class for apartheid and the rich white people that benefited from apartheid. It's retarded. Because you guys are ignorant and you buy into race politics. Because of course your politicians pump it into you every week. At some point in history I thought, if ever this country descends into a civil war, I'll be here fighting. I'll fight for my country and be a patriot. Patriot my fucking boost, man. No one cares. I've seen so many stories of poor black people struggling who are given a leg up. National Empowerment Fund, CIFA, some white person somewhere gives them a scholarship, they get a good job, they get into government or they get a big business, whatever. They don't look back, they don't give back. How many of you take your nice 30,000 Rand salary per month and donate just 100 Rand to your old primary school, your old high school, that go and contribute to your community, that go and sit with the mayor and say, you know, I grew up here. I'd like to give back to this town. I want to see how we can build up the economy. How many of you do that? What you do is you go back to where you came from, your fucking nose in the air saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe Newcastle looks like this. It wasn't like this when I was here. Of course, there were white people that were pumping money into that space. And you didn't pick up on that culture. That's why your school has fallen to shit. It's got a bunch of black kids, black teachers, a black governing body who refuse to reinvest in the school. It's the reason why you run away from those schools that become black and you keep chasing white people. But you're not there volunteering on sports days. You're not there donating to the school. You're not there helping the school get better. You'll just chase white people wherever they are while they do what's best for their kids. And then you turn around after that and say white people are the problem. Black people in the townships, when you plant trees on Arbor Day, they wait till the trees grow a little bit, then they chop them down for firewood. Trees that are meant to give them shade and oxygen. They're not planting fruit trees. You say you're hungry. You're not planting trees. Made a video 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was in Newcastle, KwaZulu, at my old home. My mom and I planted, I think we've got 6 nachi trees there. 2 lemon trees, some liquats. We weren't even trying to do anything. So many nachis. I'm like, we could eat for weeks, for months here. It's planting seeds. Black people are not planting, and then they're going to blame everyone else. And even in your family, you're rich alone, you're smart alone. You feel great knowing that you're smart and more well-off than your cousins. And your cousins, of course, because I'll speak from experience, you fund them to start spaza shops, car washes. They fucking drink that money. They wait for you to come back to give them more money because their mindset is completely broken. They live in a country where the ANC gives them everything, where white NPOs, charity houses, come and feed them. So they expect everyone to give them freebies, including you. If this country burns and we have something that is 10 times the size of the riots from last year, I'm going to try my best to leave this country and I'll watch it burn from the outside. I posted a post yesterday about my thoughts around illegal foreigners, and surprise, surprise, so many idiotic comments under that post. Because the reality is most of you seemingly are stupid and you just cannot help yourself. You know, when you're ugly, you can't help that you're ugly. It's how you were born. Took a while today, but I see Facebook is back to throttling my videos. Welcome back, boys. I think the algorithms are sleeping. You can't help yourself when you're ugly. And it seems for the rest of you guys, thinking is a very hard exercise. It's difficult. I think like your brain gets hot and your head starts spinning and maybe you start vibrating and stuff. It's basic logic. It's difficult for you guys. My post yesterday was saying, I'm not a paid politician. I do not work for border control and immigration. I am not some wealthy person in this country who benefits. Just a normal person. And because I'm not paid and not entrusted to deal with immigration, I don't care about illegal foreigners. They are not my problem. My problem is myself, my family, my community. Where I live, if there are foreigners coming there to steal, to push drugs, we will try and sort them out where we are. That was the whole story of Operation Tudula. They were saying, here in Soweto, we're unhappy with what's happening and we want to resolve this problem because the police and government are not doing anything. And I was saying kudos to them because they are doing what their community believes is best. I may not agree with what they're doing, but they are doing what's best for their people. If you guys pay me, if you guys make me president of the country, I'll fucking put up a wall like Donald Trump. I'll put up a fucking wall and I'll make sure that everyone is screened at OR Tambo. And I'll make sure that all the illegal immigrants are deported in this fucking country. Get the fuck out of here. Because I'm paid to do it. It is my mandate. But no one pays me to fucking worry about illegal foreigners. I must do Cyril Ramaphosa's job. I must do Aaron Mutwaledi's job when these guys are earning 100 to 200,000 rand a month to ride around in fucking black cars with blue sirens. Me, Upenweli, struggling. I must fucking go and do their job for them and worry about illegal immigrants. And then you guys have the audacity to say I'm speaking from privilege. Stupid. You came here legally, illegally. I don't care, man. Are you a good person? Can you add value to my life? I didn't set up these borders. I don't benefit from these borders. Some people do, of course. Some people benefit from the fact that the borders are down. If I need borders, I'll put borders around my house. Put borders around my community. And I wish more black communities, more black townships could build fences like Orania and control who comes in and out. Whether it's a foreigner to South Africa or to that township. I mean, you don't even need to be a foreigner to South Africa. You can be like, hey, Mfethu, are you from Soweto? Do you have a card to be here? Do you have a permit to be here, Soweto? I'm like, no, Mfethu, I'm here from Etimbis. What are you coming to do here? No, Ngizela Vilagazi Street. Oh, no, please feel free. You're coming to stimulate our tourism. But you're not a resident here. Why are you here? You're coming to take from us. Who are you? No, I'm a black South African. That's nice, but you're not a Sowetan. You live in Sandton. You're coming here to get fucking tenders from here, to set up businesses from here so you can milk money from Soweto and send it to Sandton and sit with your mates there and live lavish while we keep swimming in poverty, languishing. Good English. Languish, while we keep languishing in poverty. I wish black townships could be smart enough. I see a lot of uppity communities, the Jews, especially the Muslims, they've got this thing of gated communities where even in a normal neighborhood, they'll put a boom gate and a security guard. And certain entrances and exits are either open for certain hours of the day or they're completely closed. They control who enters and exits. If you don't know anyone there, you can't go in. Even though it's a free South Africa, there's freedom of movement, we are constitutional democracy, you can't get into that neighborhood. It's not a complex, it's not an estate, it's a normal neighborhood that's just gated. That's how you control your space. And I'll say, I'm going to do that. You want me, who is not paid, not a politician, you want me to swear at and beat up and kill and chase away a Zimbabwean guy that I do business with. Or a person from Lesotho who is babysitting my kids. Or someone from Eswatini who is a good customer of mine. I must take that upon myself to chase these people away so that I can protect rich white South Africans in Cape Town, 1,000 kilometers away. And I can protect criminals that come from the Eastern Cape, 1,000 kilometers away. I must do that for you. Fucking smoking tongue. And if that means I'm privileged, it's fine, man. Call me all the names. I've seen the mindset of Utaki, and I've seen the destructive mindset that gets you guys to keep voting for the same garbage. And then after you vote for the garbage, instead of blaming the garbage, you go and you blame white people. White people are to be blamed for many... I'm going to end this video soon. White people are to be blamed for many ills in this country. Definitely. And I'll always point that out. But you guys protect blacks, no matter how foul they are. Ian Cameron, I was added in a group with him yesterday from Action Society. They're doing patrolling in the Western Cape, in townships, because the police don't have capacity. Stood up to Peggy Cele, Minister of Police. And I was telling him that we're doing your work, sir. You come here with your bodyguards and your things, and we're doing your work because your police are not, they inundated with work. They're not able to solve some of the problems. And he was saying, I challenge you to come and patrol with us and walk in the sewage. There. And Peggy Cele decided to bash this white boy and said, you see me as a garden boy and I fought in the struggle. Completely missed the mood of the room. Had a great opportunity to extend a hand and say thank you for the work you guys are doing, and I hope you guys will keep it up, and we'll try to work in partnership with you. Whatever resources we have, please help us make this country better. He missed the chance to seem like a thoughtful leader. Abo Pegicele and some of these other ministers and leaders, Ophelia and Balula, they don't know that they are public servants. They think they are kings. They think they are our masters. That's why they speak down on us. That's why they go on Twitter and they tweet bullshit. Our sweat and labor pays tax so that they can earn fat salaries. They are meant to serve us. They are meant to humble themselves every time they see a citizen and say, thank you for putting me in this position to serve you. Please let me know how I can help. But they have the audacity to bash us. And very conveniently, the race card, of course. And we all use the race card when it suits our agenda. But the race card is destroying our nation. It's destroying our nation. Stage 6 load shedding. Fuel prices are close to 30 Rand now. Partly, of course, because of Russia and Ukraine. But if you look at the fuel levy and other garbage, endless potholes, bad service delivery, a border that doesn't really exist. While your president, who's meant to be focusing on running the country, is busy selling expensive cattle and has $4 to $8 million US chilling in his posy in fucking mattresses and couches. He was sleeping yesterday at the funeral of the 21 kids that died at Enyobeni Tavern. He's never sleeping at auctions. I can tell you that. He doesn't fall asleep at the auctions and at investment conferences. He's always fully awake there, which speaks to his priorities. Video came out yesterday of, I think in the United Kingdom or in England, where some gathering there, seems like politicians were discussing how Cyril Ramaphosa had briefed Boris Johnson that they are looking to accelerate the decommissioning of Eskom. Here. They call South Africa a third world country. We're not a sovereign nation. Don't let the United Nations lie to you. There's nothing sovereign about South Africa. We are a subsidiary of the United Kingdom under the Commonwealth. In the same breath, we are a glorified farm and a mine for America, for Europe, for Asia. They come here to come and milk our resources for cheap. And they come and they plant food on our farms so that they can eat. And at some point, they used to exploit our labor to their ends. Today, they don't even need our labor. There's enough drones and self-driving tractors. Even the call centers in South Africa are run from India. You might call a South African bank and hear an Indian accent because even our banks are not employing locals. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange is 40% foreign owned. And that's just at surface level. It goes deeper than that. And you guys are worried about things you should not be worried about. So for me, the focus is really myself, my body, my mind, my sanity. What I can control and knowing what I can't control. God grant me the serenity, what, if you guys know that prayer. I want to focus on good people who want to put in good work. If that's AfriForum, if that's the citizens of Orania, led by Karel Boshoff, if that's the Freedom Front, with I think Peter Mulder, if that's Inkatha Freedom Party with Nkululeko Hlengo, I think is his name. Even if it's foreigners, some American people, Europeans, Asians who are like Penn, I want to see if I can help you and your community of panelists, people that follow your leadership. How can we help you live better? Go off grid, generate your own energy, have cheaper fuel. Eskom is still pumping enough electricity to our neighbors with our load shedding. Fuel, petrol, diesel is much cheaper in our neighbors than in South Africa. Something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. And yes, we're all complicit, but the politicians need to be stopped. Their wealthy white funders need to be stopped. White racists need to be stopped. Black people who are just as evil as white racists need to be stopped. And something has to give. The Indians and the Chinese in this country that are becoming very rich, trading to the people, but not giving back, it's time that they give back. You can't come here and set up a China city and suck all the money and send it to China. You can't trade and have us buy from your stores, and we appreciate your stores to the Indian folk. But you're taking all of that money and you're just buying fancy cars and you're building double-story, triple-story homes in your neighborhoods. You guys have to give back. Something has to give. Something has to give. Or this country will implode. And unlike maybe a Zimbabwe, a Rwanda, a Nigeria, the black masses in South Africa don't know how to take care of themselves. We don't know how to grow our own food. We don't know how to educate ourselves, how to make our own clothing. So if this country implodes, just like what happens when a white school turns black, the blacks in this country are going to move, just like they're moving now to be cramped in Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town. They will move to the next area that has the best whites there. And they will become the illegal immigrants in the future after the ANC government has failed, just as the ZANU-PF of Robert Mugabe failed the people of Zimbabwe as well. If the people of Zimbabwe are not going to uplift Zimbabwe and fix it, if the people of South Africa are not going to uplift South Africa and fix it, things are never going to get better. And people like myself, I will build an ark. I will build an ark and I will take all like-minded people and we will find ways to move to Canada, to move to Europe, to move to Asia, and we'll watch the rest of you fucking sink. Because when the call was made to do something, you did nothing. But you carried on turning a blind eye, voting ANC, being corrupt, not willing to work hard, and part of the problem. Penuel the Black Pen, hope you'll have a